What's going on, Five Night Gaming crew? Lethal One up here, and to talk to you guys about some news in regards to Microsoft's XCloud service. Basically, for the web, they have a web browser version that's kind of coming out. It looks like it's more in its internal testing right now, but it's getting ready to go for more of a public preview. But before we jump into this article, let's go ahead and just, I kind of just want to give you guys just a very quick, simplified, just reminder of what exactly XCloud is, right? So basically, XCloud is from Xbox, right? From Microsoft. Basically, it allows you to play Xbox games, but through the cloud, and allows you to stream these games to different devices. So you don't actually physically need the Xbox. You're playing it from basically like a cloud server. Don't ask me to go to the specifics of all that, but basically, you don't actually need the Xbox. You're playing it from the cloud. And again, it's not necessarily like the first of its kind. We already have Stadia. Stadia, that if you're thinking of what can I think of that's kind of close to that, Stadia is a good example. Amazon has its Luna, and for the most part, I think I can only think of those two on top of what XCloud is, right, for Microsoft. And I think Nvidia's has one too. I haven't exactly heard about that one just yet, but for the most part, just know those two, right, with XCloud. Those are the different examples out there. But I want to just go ahead and just show you guys also from the actual official Microsoft page what you actually need to actually do the XCloud gaming service, right? So you need an Android version 6.0 or greater phone with Bluetooth version 4.0 or greater. You need Xbox Game Pass app with the Ultimate membership. So keep that in mind. It's specified right there. Ultimate membership. You have to have that version of the Game Pass to be able to use the XCloud service. And also, if anybody has questions, can you play this on can you play any game you own on Xbox and whatnot? To my knowledge, this is actually, it's kind of bundled in with the Ultimate Game Pass. So you should only be able to play, I believe it's the games that are currently available on Game Pass Ultimate. Just to let everybody know that it's not like you can just play any game you already own on Xbox. It specifically goes with the Ultimate Game Pass. Let me jump past that because I feel like I was on there for way too long. The third one it says here is an Xbox wireless controller with Bluetooth or other compatible controllers, and it talks about the optional clip. Let me jump down here because that's kind of what you can see right here is the mobile gaming accessories. I feel like I've been seeing these so prominent lately, and I think just a lot of people are starting to slowly kind of integrate and try out these, cloud gaming services, because there are people who use Google Stadia. I actually have friends of mine who use that. So a lot of people are getting the clips and whatnot to be able to use their phone and with controllers to play the games and whatnot. So it's becoming more and more popular, and I think cloud gaming is honestly, it's going to be a really big game changer in the future, I think. But real quick here, this is just a clip to show you, right? It kind of holds your phone up, attaches to the controller so you can play like that. Just imagine busting that out at work. I just couldn't imagine how that's going to be like, but hey, it's the future. I think this top one is a little bit more of an acceptable one because people will probably see this and be like, oh, you got to switch, because I could just already see that being the case. But this is the Razer Kishi. It looks really cool though. It kind of mimics somewhat of the Switch, right? I mean, I'm looking at it more from the PSP too, right? Because the PSP was like this, and it's funny because I feel like XCloud, right, is what a lot of people wanted, kind of, for not what a lot of people wanted, but a lot of Xbox fans wanted some form of a mobile hardware version, right, to be able to play some of their games on the go, right? Like PlayStation had the PSP. So I kind of feel like this is in a way the solution, right? Because you're able to use your phone for the most part as your screen, and everybody has a phone, right? In a way, it's a little bit more accessible, right? You don't actually have to buy a specific piece of hardware, and you have to buy a Switch to be able to do that. Yeah, you can use your mobile phone. So in a way, it's cool for that aspect of it. But at the same time, it's still kind of weird to use attach a controller to be able to play the games and whatnot, which I think is a great thing to kind of just go back and remind you guys too. Is they're saying you have to use an Xbox wireless controller with Bluetooth or other compatible controllers. Now, for the browser version, which is what we're talking about from the article, it specifies you have to use a controller. Now, I'm not 100% sure on this, so for anybody who's using currently, the XCloud and whatnot, let me know down below. I don't know if there's any games that currently support touchscreen controls. A lot of remote play features already have that implemented, but for more of what this is, you have to have the controller, because it's kind of really just mimicking as if you're playing an Xbox game, right, just without the actual Xbox. So I think for the most part, I don't know of any games that currently support it. If there are any, it's probably very limited. I think for the most part, a lot of games are just really utilizing the controller. You need a controller to pretty much do it. And then it just says here 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi or mobile data connection speed, and it says 10 megabytes down. But that's pretty much sort of the rundown of it in a nutshell of the actual service. But back to the article here. This is from Tom Moran over at The Verge, and we got a screenshot of it. It looks like this is a Microsoft Edge browser here, but it's showing you Let me show you guys can see it here. But it's showing you cloud gaming. It says beta with a search bar. And then it has like the actual different games, different categories. Again, if you're familiar with Game Pass, you're probably familiar with what this looks like. But again, it's just showing you that it's on the actual browser. Jumping down a little bit more here. I'll read the paragraph. It says, Microsoft has started testing its xCloud game streaming through a web browser. Sources familiar with Microsoft's Xbox plans tell The Verge that employees are now testing a web version of xCloud ahead of a public preview. The service allows Xbox players to access their games through a browser and opens up xCloud to work on devices like iPhones and iPads. I'm going to be completely honest with you. The main reason for this, right, I think is mostly just because of Apple, because as you guys know earlier this year, and I believe we covered it in the video, but Apple pretty much just denied this. They did not let this fly. They're, as they kind of mentioned it, Apple's a little bit kind of it's a little strict, and so they didn't allow this to kind of go through and be on their app store. So this is kind of like, I want to say, they're kind of workaround to being able to get this on iOS users, or to get this for iOS users. Someone like myself, I would love to try out the Game Pass service. I want to try out xCloud, and I think it'd be awesome to be able to have access to it on my phone and whatnot. So this is actually really cool for someone like me, but it sucks because Apple was like, nah. But again, this is cool now because, man, now we might actually have a chance, and it's already getting built, right? It's already getting done. So it's cool that we'll eventually be able to have access to this, which is really exciting. Let me jump down. I think this paragraph, the main thing is that it really, this is where it specifies here. Once you launch the game, it will run full screen, and you'll need a controller to play games streamed through the browser. There you go. There's the indication that you have to have a controller if you're going to try the xCloud through this method via browser. Let me jump down. This is just another screenshot to show you what it looks like on the browser. It says here, Microsoft's xCloud service on the web. Looks really neat. Let's jump down here. It says it's not immediately clear what resolution Microsoft is streaming games at through this web version. The software maker is using Xbox One S server blades for its existing xCloud infrastructure, so full 4K streaming won't be supported until the backend hardware is upgraded to Xbox Series X components this year. So I'm not sure who wants to even have 4K streaming. I don't even know how well of an internet speed or whatever to even try to do 4K streaming for cloud gaming. That's got to be pretty much insane. So I'm not kind of surprised by that, really, to the most part. It kind of makes sense, right? Jumping down a little bit here, it says Microsoft is planning to bundle this web version of xCloud into the PC version of the Xbox app on the Windows 10, which that makes sense. And then it says the web version appears to be currently limited to Chromium browsers like Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge, much like Google Stadia service. And it says Microsoft is planning some form of public preview of xCloud via the web in the spring, and this wider internal testing signals that the preview is getting very close. And I can promise you, the moment this is available on for the iPhone and everything, I'm gonna hop on this because I really want to try this out. For someone like me, I don't have an Xbox, right? So I also have a PC, so I don't have to worry about that too much. So I guess maybe for someone who doesn't really have access to it or doesn't have a strong PC or whatnot to play some of these games, so that's kind of that makes more sense in that aspect. So let me jump down just a little bit more here. It says Xbox game run full screen in a web browser, and then starting an xCloud stream inside of a browser. Again, these are just more screenshots. I'm just reading the screenshot captions. Looks really good. Looks really cool. You can tell top left here, it has the signal bars. I'm going to assume that's from the controller. If you click on it, it probably opens up the menu and whatnot. Probably 3 dots for some preferences or some settings. Jump down a bit more here. I guess that's pretty much the end of it. It says the big drive behind this web version is support for iOS and iPadOS hardware, which again was just kind of what I was saying before. I think the main reason for this, honestly, is just so that Apple devices can be able to use it. It says Apple imposes limitations on iOS apps and cloud services, and Microsoft wasn't able to support the iPhone and iPad when it launched xCloud in beta for Android for last year. And it says Apple said Microsoft would need to submit individual games for review, a process that Microsoft labeled a bad experience for customers. And I will be right there with them to say, man, I was upset when they did that because I think this is really cool. And I guess now it kind of comes back to that conversation of what are thoughts on xCloud? And again, I haven't tried it out yet, but I kind of want to leave it up to you guys. Let me know down below. For those of you that have tried xCloud already, what are your thoughts about it? Do you guys like the service? Does it run well for you? I can't help but also think too, right? This is going to be very dependent on internet connection. So if you don't have really good internet, it's probably not going to be a good experience for you. That's probably one of the biggest complaints that this is probably going to ever have. I think what's cool is that cloud stream gaming is going to be something bigger, I think, in the future. I will 100% will say that like the idea of being able to like start playing like Gears or something and then be able to continue that like on the go, whatever, just put the attachment on my phone or whatever, and say I'm on breakout work or whatever the case may be, I'm just not home and I really want to continue that experience over and just kind of resume it, right? With my phone as an example, I think that's just so cool. And that's so close to being able to get to the point of like just taking your console kind of games and being able to play wherever you're at. So, you know, I always think like, man, where will mobile games be if like this becomes more of a mainstream thing to do, right? And it is better support, and you know the technology is there for it, and you won't have crazy lag, and you know it becomes more of a smoother experience. It's gonna be absolutely crazy, and I'm all for it. I'm excited for that day to come, because being able to like like I said, play some of these console games and play on the go. And it runs fine and it runs smooth. I think that's crazy. I think it's going to be awesome. And I can't wait. So give me your guys' thoughts about this again. I'm going to toss this out to even Apple guys, right? Are you guys excited for this? Is this something you guys are going to want to get into when the service finally drops, right, for Apple devices? And then again, for you guys that already have it, let me know. What is your experience with xCloud if you guys have been able to try it out? Let me know down below. And that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Lethal One Up. We appreciate you here at Five Night Gaming. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.